why Starbucks is closing down so many stores in California, especially in San Francisco. What up, internet world? It's your boy Jermaine back with another video. This video, let's just dive right into this. So y'all already know Starbucks is closing a lot of stores, and I can't believe that Starbucks would even close stores the way that they're doing. They're not even giving people a 2-week notice. They're not doing this for their employees. They're not doing this for their customers. I mean, I used to be a loyal Starbucks customer, and I would always go to the same Starbucks location like every single day. And if I showed up to my favorite Starbucks location and there's a sign on the front door that's saying closing in 2 days, I would kind of feel pissed. Now, I don't just go to Starbucks every day now. I mainly make tea at home and I randomly go to Starbucks. But like, this is a huge inconvenience for customers and employees. Now, at the same time, Starbucks, and not only Starbucks, most companies want their employees to give a 2 weeks notice. How dare this company not even give their employees a 2-week notice? I mean, the people at Starbucks corporate, they knew that they were going to lay off all these people. They knew that this was going to happen. They knew this months ago. They knew this weeks ago. However, they didn't tell anyone. They made all their employees suffer, and they freaking made their customers suffer as well. And this is just horrible. But let's just get right into it about why they're closing so many stores in California. This is not rocket science to figure this out. Y'all remember when California passed that new law, the $20 hour minimum wage? Well, this hurt a lot of companies. I know some Starbucks locations were paying $16 an hour, and now they have to go from paying $16 an hour to $20 an hour. Then at the same time, Starbucks, they would really love to raise their prices in California. They know that they can't raise their prices because people would be pissed and all up in arms like, Starbucks raising their prices. A cup of Starbucks coffee in San Francisco should probably be about $5, not $3.25 or $3.75. It should be a whole lot higher than what it is. And this also brings up another huge problem with operating Starbucks locations in San Francisco, or just any other corporation in San Francisco. All the extra things that you have to give your employees that make your operation costs so much higher. Not only are your operation costs so much higher, your insurance is higher, your property tax is higher, your rent for the location is higher. Like, literally every single thing is higher. And what has been going on in California for the past couple years, people have been moving away from California. California is too heavily regulated. California is just too dang expensive. If you want to open a business in California, the hoops that you have to jump through to open a business is just ridiculous compared to most other states around the country. On top of that, you have to pay your employees so much more money. And then you can't really raise the prices like you really want to, because probably people won't really come to your restaurant as much. So this is a big problem that Starbucks is having. But I also think that there's probably a big shift in the economy. Like, things have kind of slowed down. And if people want to pinch pennies and save a little bit of money, well, stop going to Starbucks would be something easy to cut out. You know, maybe not eat out as much would be something simple to cut out. Maybe people could do things like, you know, reduce the cost of their phone bill, or, you know, change car insurances, or figure out a way to save money. And cutting out coffee early in the morning, or cutting out coffee and a bagel in the morning, or just cutting one of those things out. Yeah, over the course of a month, you're going to save some money. So I think it's definitely the economy, definitely operation costs in California. And it's not just San Francisco that's just very expensive to operate. Just throughout California, it's just far more expensive to operate in the state. And this is just really, really bad when it comes to a corporation trying to operate and trying to be profitable. Even in San Francisco, a lot of people wonder, like, how come there's so many mom and pop stores and there's not that many corporations? Well, it's hard for corporations to make it in a place like San Francisco. It's hard to move into a neighborhood. The business districts won't let corporations move in, or at least most corporations will not allow them to move in. And then on top of that, you have to pay your employees so much more. If it's like a large corporation, you have to pay all these different fees and stuff, and it makes the operation costs way more expensive. And mom and pop small businesses, they don't have to do this. Like, your little small local coffee shop, they don't have to pay their workers $20 an hour. They can still get away with paying their workers $16 an hour because the state law was for companies of a certain size. So if you're a small mom and pop, like, you can still pay $16 an hour. However, I don't know if people are actually still paying $16 an hour at mom and pop locations, because if I'm an employee, a minimum wage employee, why would I go work at a mom and pop store when they're only going to pay me $16 an hour when I could go to Chipotle, or I could go to Starbucks or go to any other corporation and they're going to pay me 20. So my guess is probably at the mom and pop places are probably paying $20 an hour too. But it's kind of insane what's going on. Like I'm kind of pissed about the whole Starbucks thing because I know like 2 different people that work at 2 different Starbucks, and it was just like a really, really big surprise for them. And just to see like how it's kind of been in a shock to them. And it's like, yo, why didn't they just give y'all a notice? Like they could have, said, hey, this location is closing in a month, right? This location is closing in 2 months. They could have gave notice, bro. Just like an employee would give notice. An employee would say, hey, I'm giving my 2 weeks notice, right? Why can't a corporation do the same thing, right? I mean, it's just absolutely absurd, Starbucks. Now, I know one location that they closed down in San Francisco, the location in the Castro, the 18th Street location. If I'm not mistaken, this location had like a union going, or they just passed something for a union to be formed at that location. And to see that this store is closing after that was announced is kind of like, oh, that's a little shady, right? Y'all had to make sure y'all get rid of that store because they were like forming a union. But then at the same time, that won't necessarily stop other stores from forming a union. Like, what if this other Starbucks store wants to form a union? I don't know. Maybe they will attempt to form a union and then maybe that store will get closed down or something like that. It's just a little wild that like you hear about certain stores want to unionize and then they get closed down. But then on the flip side, at least in San Francisco, I've also heard the rumor of maybe Starbucks locations don't want to re-sign leases because there are a lot of old Starbucks locations in San Francisco. And if y'all know anything about commercial leasing can be very vast. Some locations, the person that is renting the shop, like Starbucks, maybe they're in charge of the plumbing. Maybe they're in charge of replacing the windows on the front. Other locations just have different contracts, and maybe they just didn't want to, re-sign some of these contracts due to a number of things, due to the city just not coming back, due to higher operation costs, especially when it comes to things like the minimum wage and all the healthy San Francisco benefits that in San Francisco corporations have to pay to their employees. And maybe Starbucks is like, peace out, yo. And it's not just Starbucks. It's a lot of other companies doing this in San Francisco and doing this throughout California. Okay. It's Walgreens. It's CVS. These stores are bouncing out. It's like, yo, y'all are making it way too hard for us to operate, especially Walgreens and CVS in California. You just have people going in, just stealing the stuff, walking out, and there's laws in place where security guards can't go after them, and then that's finally changed, but then the stores are still leaving, the stores are still closing, people are constantly losing their jobs. Like, when is this gonna end? Like, this is probably never gonna end. Also in San Francisco, Starbucks has a lot of locations. It used to be more locations in the city, but in the past couple of years, a lot of locations have already closed, especially in the financial district. But in Union Square, there's like 2 Starbucks that's like 1 block away from each other. There's like one at Sutter and Stockton, and then there's one at Sutter and Powell, and they're going to close one of those. And that kind of makes sense because, I mean, come on, it's like just 1 block away from each other. And then from Sutter and Powell, there's like another Starbucks like 2 blocks down, right? So like there's literally 3 Starbucks in Union Square. And do we actually need 3 Starbucks in Union Square? If the city was more busy, yeah. But how the city is now, no, we don't need 3 Starbucks in Union Square because in the mornings it don't even be that busy anymore. People don't even drink coffee like they used to. And then I have been seeing some of these little Chinese tea shops popping up. However, I don't think these Chinese tea shops are a threat to Starbucks. I know a lot of people saying that things like Luckin Coffee is a threat to Starbucks. But if you really look close to like Luckin Coffee and a lot of things that come from China, a lot of it is subsidized by the government. Okay? So Luckin Coffee, when you get the app and you notice how the coffee's like 30% off, well, that's because it's subsidized by the government, right? So it's not like, it's not like the company's not really even making any money. They're just trying to expand market share. And companies do this all the time, even with TikTok. That's why the prices were so low, because it was subsidized by the freaking government. Okay, so you could buy all these cheap prices and you could keep coming back to this app. And then over time, all the stores in your neighborhood close down. You know what I mean? And you just keep coming back to the app. So at the same time, I do see some of these Chinese tea shops coming up. I'm really not a fan of any of them. Like, there's this one Chinese tea shop I pick up at on 4th Street. I cannot pronounce the name. It's some weird name. But whenever I go in there, I can't even stay in there because it smells so strong of whatever the tea smells that, like, I will have to, like, literally wait outside. Like, when I'm doing Uber Eats deliveries, like, I'll, like, go in, show the phone, and have to wait outside because, bro, it, like, reeks in there. I don't know. Maybe in Western society, we just like the smell of coffee more. And maybe in China, they like the smell of tea more. I don't know, but I could not stand that spot. I'm definitely more of a fan of Starbucks. But yeah, Starbucks stores are closing. Like, they're closing fast. And like I say, Starbucks did a dirty one when they just let their employees go like that. They should not have did that. That's wrong. That's dirty. And other companies should learn. And this is not what you do to your employees. You don't just kick them to the curb like that. That's wrong. Like, that is totally wrong. Like, oh, that's bad, Starbucks. Starbucks, you should offer an apology for that because that's not right. Like, that's not right. Otherwise, I think employees should just quit, you know? They just, you know, they should just quit on the corporation because that's dirty. Like, for real, that's dirty. Get somebody a 30-day notice. I mean, you're a freaking huge company. You can easily give a 30-day notice for your employees and your customers, especially your customers, yo. Your customers make your business what it is, right? They're the ones that's bringing you the money, and you do both of them wrong just because y'all people at corporate just want to look cool and want the stock price to go up. Yeah, Starbucks, that ain't cool. That ain't cool. But anyway, we out. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching. What y'all think about all these Starbucks closures, yo? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.